Hello, designers. This is Rebecca with part 3 of our assignment to making the band critique. Just to remind you, if you have very heavy, text-heavy slides like your brainstorming or your personas or your reflections at the end, just to save time on the video, I'm not going to read through everything in the video, but just know that I have read through all your slides entirely. And if you'd like to read your peers slide, then just pause the video and you can read it there. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Next up is Myra. Okay, so Myra's brainstorm list is a really great list. It's really long. I just want to encourage you during this process. You don't have to redo this or anything for this class. I'm just saying in the future, I really recommend not doing this part digitally and putting pencil to actual paper instead. It just has been proven to open new neural pathways in your brain to just even spark your creativity even further, okay? This is a really good looking mind map. This part does not need to be on paper for some reason. It's still very helpful to do digitally, so that's totally cool. What I love seeing is when you branch out like 4 levels like these here and here. So I'd like to encourage you to challenge yourself in the future when doing an exercise like this to make every single one branch out at least 4 levels, if not more. It's just another way to dig deeper into your brain and let that creativity come out. So here we have some great song titles, and the most of it is spelled correctly for "Do you really love me?" This part should all of these words should be capitalized. A me should be capitalized here. And just Google if do should be capitalized. I'm not sure if it is, but I know that it is usually not. All right. And then this is a really good looking brainstorm, or I'm sorry, mind map. I really love this one a lot, as well as this one. These turned out really great. This is some really great information in your personas. Your personas are another opportunity to show off some of your layout chops. So what I recommend doing here, you're already doing some really fun experimentation with layout by using some different fonts and by doing like a vertical type here. Place interests, like align this left so the interest is not indented. It can come back here. And then with this paragraph here, you could give it a black screen, like that's the background color that we place behind text. We call them screens. That has a similar edge as these kind of ransom letters over here. And then you could turn this font white if you wanted to, so that you've got that legibility, just to create almost like a second. I mean, not as you already did create a second column, but to create like this other pocket of visual interest. Okay. And then if you decide to make those changes on there, they're not mandatory. It's just if you want to play with it a bit, just apply that to this layout as well. Okay. Excellent. Also good information. Thank you. All right. So this mood board has a nice color palette, very grungy. I'm happy to see like this Alice in Chains uh, poster here, and then like this kind of grittiness as well. This is like some fantastic texture uh, and good picture here. And I'm fine with like this ransom style text over here with all that grit, but it is feeling a bit punky, maybe because this person has a big crazy mohawk. But this right here is just like it's not really feeling grunge to me. I understand like this part feels grunge, but I don't know. I feel like it's getting a little too away from grunge, even though grunge was influenced by punk. This is just pure punk, like iconography or symbolism, or you know what I mean? Imagery. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, and this one here with the graffiti, as well as this one, they're not really feeling that punk. I mean, sorry, that grunge to me either. Not to say that they're not. I'm just saying there's so much fantastic grunge imagery out there between the album covers that you used in your presentation, some of the posters, and some of the magazine layouts. Like, why not bring those in so that you're just, whenever you're referencing back to that mood board, you're looking at actual, real 90s grunge stuff to influence you instead of things that are questionably grunge to influence you. Does that make sense? All right. So I think that this logo turned out fantastic. I love it. I feel like the way you drew this does look like it's rotting. It's really great. And I love this like chunk where the seeds were. It's wonderful. The font is really good. All of your kerning looks really good. Every single version here, I love that you made 4 versions. That makes me very excited because you'll have so many options that are already done. They're just all laid out really nicely, like good balance. Everything is really great. So excellent choices there. The only thing that I think could be improved upon is coloring the core of the apple instead of having it be gray. You're getting, when you turned it gray, it's becoming very flat. And I think that adding some color, will fix that. Let me, I don't hear you. Okay. So on this slide here, when I look at your color palette, which is lovely, perfectly grunge, there's not really a color that would work that great for the core. So I brought up these ones here. This is the Adobe Color website. All of these colors will look really nicely with your palette. Here, I'll just slide it down like this so you can see. Woo! Hey, okay, there we go. And I think that like this color here might work nicely for the core. Um, and so if you wanted to add any of them, to your palette, you could, or something similar to that. This blue would also look nice if you needed a blue, but you can keep your whole palette warm by all means. So if you're interested in that, it is BF9A54. And then I think this Anarchy font is really cool. Then it looks like you're using Lexend with that. I think it's fine. I mean, it's nothing special. So let's see. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm not really sold on it. I think because it's more of like a Futura inspired font, and I'm just not getting grunge from that. I'm wondering, let me see. Okay, so I think it's a very geometric font, and looking at these other decorative fonts, none of them appear to have lowercase letters, so you do need uh, a font that for your paragraphs, like your lyric sheet and some of the information on your poster, maybe that is going to have lowercase letters and maybe an italic option and a bold option. So I was looking here and I'm wondering if you would consider something like Vendetta or FF Dax is like a very 90s font. Let me see if there's just a couple more that kind of illustrate what I'm trying to say. Um, Maybe Verdana might be okay. Like that feels very 90s to me. And something else, let's see here. So something less like perfectly circular, you know, and more just, sorry, you gotta sit through me scrolling. Boring. I know there's something in here. Ooh, this one. Inria Sans might work. If you want to go with the sans serif, there's a couple sans serif options, and then there's also some serif options as well. So I think you could, you know, have a lot of fun with those. Um, and then I think you just need to choose, like you need to cut a couple of these out. The post regular is, it's pretty similar to the anarchy regular, so I don't really think you need that. And I think that the ransom style is leaning a little bit more towards punk. So I feel like these two would be better options here, but you can choose whichever ones you want. That's just my 2 cents. And then I like this torn paper texture. I think that's really nice. All right, and then here are our photos. They turned out great. Really good. Awesome finds. Really good. Awesome. They're going to be perfect. All right. So I understand having a hard time finding stock imagery, like especially enough stock imagery with enough variations, But I think the ones that you found were absolutely fantastic. So they're working perfectly for this whole project. And I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed creating your logo and um, and I really do love your color palette. I think that's working really nicely. I just want to explain to you, I understand your feelings about AI, and the reason why I allow students to use AI in this course is because in the real world, there would be a professional photo shoot, whether we're doing it ourselves, if we have a photo background too, or if, somebody else is getting hired to do it. And same with like, we would also have copy written by somebody else, or the band would already be made and they'd have all their lyrics and all of uh, their name and their song titles and everything like that. So I'm just allowing everybody to use AI to so that you don't have to do all the work that you normally wouldn't even do yourself to create those assets that then you get to, as the designer, lay out and not, use all your brain power for coming up with all this other stuff. You know what I mean? Uh, so I don't expect like you to sell this work and take credit. I mean, yes, take credit for your designs, but um, I just wanted to explain that's why I'm cool with people using AI in this class. Okay. All right, cool. Thank you so much. Okay, next up is Jennifer. So here are, oh, I skipped some slides. Sorry, I don't know how that happened. So here's Jennifer's brain dump. Great. Good start for sure. Really nice. Lots of good words. Good stuff. I'm happy. And here is your good mind mapping. Really nice. So I'd like to encourage you in the future to try to make your mind maps branch out to at least 4 levels. I mean, these are really good. Like you did really good mind mapping here, but that the further you go, the more neural pathways you open, and the more you build that creative muscle. Okay. And then these are some really great band names. I'm sorry, song titles. So wonderful work there. And here are our mind maps for our persona. Really good. Great. And lovely layout for your personas. Really nice. So when you create a table like this, just grab that center divider there and slide it over so that it's closer to the end of the longest word, okay? And then the whole width of this table will change, but if you wanted it to stay the same width, then just slide this over a little bit so that there's even spacing after the longest word in this column than there is over in this column, okay? Great. Good info. Great. Good info here too. Thank you. And here's our mood board. Really good. Lots of typography, huh? Really good. Good. So I'd like to encourage you. I love all the typography, don't get me wrong. But go ahead and go pick out some of your favorite album covers too, just so you are kind of um, have even more great references to keep kind of falling back on to see how they balance their imagery with the typography, where they place things. I think it's good to have that, and the color palettes, all that good stuff. All right, so here is our logo, and I love it. I think it turned out really, really great. Love it. Fantastic font choices. Just so good and gritty. I like this kind of this stenciled look like that got painted over. It works really nice. I love that the variation in the text on the bottom, and it all feels very nice and balanced. It's really good. Really good. Perfect. Really nice color palette. That's lovely. Good stuff. Font choices. Fantastic. Excellent. Lots of fantastic textures. Yeah, really good. And then here is the band photos. Oh, they're great finds. Really good finds. Excellent. Good stuff. Really good. All of the contrast is nice in these photos and really good. Awesome. I want to see what this one is back here, but that's okay. Well, I love your attitude about this. I'm so happy to hear that you're ready for more. And I'm so happy to hear that you had fun with the project overall. I know that I didn't give a lot of feedback on what needs to be changed, and I just want you to take that as a really good sign that you're doing very, very well and that you don't need to make any changes on the stuff that I was just gushing over. So sometimes I find that like people get upset when I'm like, it's awesome, you're amazing, da da da. But I if I don't tell you to change something, that's a win. Okay, that's less work to do to redo, and just take it as a W. So then you had mentioned something about, you struggled with where to make it distressed versus where to make it more legible, and you didn't want it to be too chaotic. But I mean, I just want you to look at some of this chaos here. Like it's not, this is all still legible. We got but they played with some things like our kerning, um, overlapping, uh, overlapping here, big kerning. I think the big chunky kerning is a humongous part of what makes grunge typography really unique. And then this blurring and stuff is really, really cool too. But I'm going to go back a little bit further. There is definitely some chaos, like in places like this. So don't be afraid of that chaos. Like I mean, look at this is just so much overlap. Um, while readability is important, uh, David Carson was like, it's readable enough. You know what I mean? Like our brain is going to puzzle those things together and it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? We'll figure out what's supposed to be happening in those blank spaces. So um yeah, so I guess my point is like don't be afraid of the chaos. Um just make sure whatever is, your most important bit of information that is readable enough. And then you can use typography to create pattern, to create texture, like they did here. Um, you're almost like creating extra graphics and elements using the typography with this kind of echoing and smudging. So, um, but then, just made sure, sorry, I was just sitting up. They made sure that come back, that it's at least readable in one place. You know what I mean? So I think that, I'm sorry if I keep saying, you know what I mean? So I think that as long as your point is across clearly in at least one area, that it's okay for the rest of it to be a bit chaotic. And don't let that scare you. Come out of that comfort zone and just go nuts with grunge. Okay? Excellent. Thanks, Jennifer. Next is Jaslyn. All right, so here's our brain dump and lists. This is a fantastic start. I'd like to encourage you in the future when you do exercises like this, you don't have to redo this for this course or anything, but in the future, I want to encourage you to try to fill the entire page with stuff, whether even if it's little like little sketches and everything, but for the most part, just let the words come out. And once you get to that initial blockage of, I can't think of anything else, just sit in that for a minute and something else will come. Even if it takes a minute or two, you will get past that. And then all of a sudden, you have literally opened new neural pathways into your creativity, like into your creative mind. So, I mean, literally into your brain, but that will unleash your creative mind to come up with even deeper concepts that are more unique and, uh, you know, more like deeper. No, I don't, that's not the word I want to use. Say I need to open my neural pathways to get a bigger vocabulary. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say? Like you just get to this next level of creativity that's going to put you ahead of so many other designers that just stay on the surface. All right, so great start here. And then here with your list, let me just look at your list here to just check your spelling. Really good. So you can capitalize like here, but you don't have to. And then over here, so this needs to go deeper. Whenever you're mind mapping, I would like you to challenge yourself to go at least 4 levels deep on every branch. If you can go 5 or 6, that's even better. And you can also look at like how do things link together. And this is just one more of those processes that the longer you stay in it, the more neural pathways you're creating until one day you have created all of these neural pathways that are permanent and make you able to quickly and easily access that creativity, that deeper level of creativity, okay? This isn't just busy work, like this is literally a brain exercise. And same here. These are fantastic starts. These are branching off in definitely, woo, come back. Okay, in definitely more ways than you went here. So, so that's fantastic. Oh, I'm happy to see, some of this happening there. So that's really good. But don't be afraid to keep going. The more you understand about these ideal avatars, these, whether it is your client or your client's customers, then the better you will be at designing for both of them. Okay, excellent. This is a really lovely layout. I love what you did here. Really beautiful the way that you broke everything up and laid everything out. Lovely. And there's really good information here. Really nice. Excellent. Way to go. Really nice as well. Great info. Thank you. Really nice. And here is our mood board. All right. So I'm seeing some amazing typography right here. Some really nice texture. I love that you're kind of zooming in on these lines and double lines. The color palette is gorgeous. I'd like you to, this makes me happy to see like an old picture like this, but I would like you to place more um, of the album covers and posters and artwork that you found for your original presentation that really inspired you into this. Instead of the images of your band, like you can have them in there, but they don't need to be the biggest part. I want you to look at the real, original, authentic imagery as the biggest influence for you. Okay? So you can add at least 10 more images to this mood board. All right, so here's our vector logo. Great. Let me just keep going to see the rest of this together. All right. So yes, that color palette is gorgeous. Oh, this is fun. Ziggy Stardust there. All right. Yeah, I love this halftone pattern so much. Um, in addition to the grain, just notice all of this line work, like these echoing lines. Notice that they have like a white line between the colored line and the image. That's a real big 70s thing. And this is cool too. This like kind of like, it almost looks kind of off print. That's nice. All right. So I think your fonts are awesome. This is a really amazing font pairing combo there. I'm gonna go right now and find this font. Okay, I got it. And now I can be just like you. Just kidding. Okay, so back to the logo. So I'm happy to see that you created a combination. Let me come back to the mark first. Uh-oh. Sorry, my app just crashed and I had to relaunch it. Okay, back to it. So so your logo. Okay. All right. So um, the the contrast in the thinness of the line and the two different types of stars is a little bit distracting. So the letters are very fun. I think that you could go larger with this C so that, I'm sorry, with the star in the C so that it came out to about here, like, so the thickness on this side is similar to the thickness on this side. And then however large you let that star go, increase the scale to match it of this A. I think it'll still look great. And then with these stars out here, I recommend matching the 5-point stars instead of using the 4-point starburst or stardust stars. And then with your swoosh here, this little orbit, I recommend creating an orbit from an actual oval instead of from drawing the arcs. So make an oval and then reduce its scale and rotate it a little bit and go over it again. And then you can use your Pathfinder or Shape Builder tools to cut them out. And then it'll be less of this almost surfboardy shape and more of an ovular path. Okay. The other thing, last thing, would be to adjust the thickness of this line here to be similar to your thickest part of your of the orbit. So when you do the oval path, consider going thicker on the outside part here, the outside ring, you know. Um, just play with it and see what looks right. But there needs to be a little bit of matching going on between the swash and the letters. So right now you have like this thin line here, and if that thickness could match here and maybe somewhere in the tail here, or if you increase the scale of your star, maybe the space here, like they all kind of need to complement each other just a little bit there with that variation in width. And then the thickness of the orbit, it does not need to be as thick as like the thickest parts of your letters by any means at all. Like, don't go that thick, it'll look weird and it'll start to get a little confusing. But you know, I think a little bit thicker will be better. Okay. Yeah. And then the stars. Great. So then from there we have this version with the Cosmic Assembly. I highly recommend stacking Cosmic Assembly. So it's Cosmic and then Assembly below it. And then you can also create a version where it says Cosmic Assembly next to it. So you have a long horizontal version. I'm not sure if you need that, but you can play with that. One more thing you could do, now that I'm looking at it, is you can take your C from here and replace it over here. And then you could take your A from here and replace it here so that the tail comes under, and just make the C and the A the same scale as each other, and play with the rest of the, yeah, just move over the word as you need to make that A fit in there and swoop under the S, and then make that C the same height and come down to the same part, like what would you call that? Like the descender line of the A coming down and the Y. All right. All right, cool. That's good. I think that'll look really good. Then these are great. You got some really nice results here. This one, I don't know about this. I just don't feel like it fits the rest of the feel of the other images. So I think you could nix that. If you wanted to, you could create an image like this with these guys by feeding it back into your generator. But I think it'd be really cool if you took these guys and put them in a scenario like this. That would be really neat, really cool, like collaging, you know. You could also use these guys and put them in a scenario like this. There's so many combinations you could do. All right. I'm so happy to hear that you are already a funk and soul fan. That's really great because then, you know, that love and nostalgia for it will come through in these projects. And I think it really did. I also, I love the color palettes that you used. I think it's really fantastic. You chose wonderful font pairings there. And I'm also happy to hear that, you know, you were allowing yourself to just kind of play and not necessarily making it perfect, but just doing the best you can with working with Illustrator and working on your iPad and stuff. So wonderful job experimenting and just trying to learn more there. That's really, really commendable. I love that. And I understand the brainstorming was just kind of, it almost sounds like it was a bit of pulling teeth there for you. And 20 minutes can feel like an eternity when you're staring at a piece of paper that's not full enough, you know. So I do get that. Sometimes it could be the environment we're in. Sometimes it could just be the kind of the wrong time of the day, you know, when you're kind of like in a more tired cycle of the day, like our energy levels and brain levels, they peak at different times. And so usually that peak is about an hour after you've woken up is when that doesn't, that's not where you peak, it's where it starts to go up. So maybe like 1 or 2 hours after you're awake might be a better time to sit down and brainstorm. And then you get a second wind later on in the evening, usually. But the lull, it could be in the afternoon where you really could benefit from taking a nap instead of trying to use your brain at that point. So, you know, maybe that's something to consider. And I always find too that, like, when I first wake up in the morning and I'm laying in bed, like I haven't even really opened my eyes yet, my brain will figure out problems that I've been kind of um, like dwelling on. All of a sudden, I'll have that solution. Like there's some strange clarity that happens there, and that could even be something that is a little bit motivating. And then the last thing that I recommend is taking a walk without headphones, with you know, without listening to anybody or listening to anything, and without anybody else. Going for a walk outside and just being with your thoughts is, I think, of some of the best things during that time. And then you know, you could take like a notebook with you. You can even just take your phone. And then once that idea hits you and you're like really going, you could talk into your phone and record that, or you can like sit down on a bench or something and just start writing. Like all of a sudden it'll just flood out. Okay. I hope that's helpful. All right. Thanks so much. All right. Next up is Emily. Great. So here's a good start to your brainstorm. I love these little color dots. That's a fun place to stick those. With this mind map, you could definitely dig deeper. This is not a very deep mind map. It's not very complete. So I'd like to encourage you, by no means do you have to redo this for this course. We're beyond this at this point. But the next time you do an exercise like this, just give yourself even more time. Like just sit there. Once you hit that wall of I have no more ideas, sit there for a couple more minutes and you will break past that wall. It will happen, I promise. So try to challenge yourself with every mind map to go at least 4 levels deep on every single branch and just keep going. You know what I mean? It's really going to open these pathways in your brain, literally building pathways in your brain, so that every time that you have to start a creative project, it'll become easier and easier and easier, and you'll be able to quickly tap in to that deeper level of creativity and conceptualism. Okay. All right. So, same with the brainstorm. This is a really fantastic start. And if you could challenge yourself on brain dumps where you're writing down just words and lists, try to fill up the entire paper. Like, don't let there be any negative space anywhere. And just sit there and scribble and scribble and scribble and just let all that stuff just feed through your hand and out onto that paper. So they're not just busy work exercises, they are literally exercises for your brain and for creativity. Great. So same with these, you know, they're really great starts. They just could go deeper and deeper and branch further. But I think that this is a really great start, like I said. All right. And then here's our fun starts to our mind maps as well. All right, great. And our final band names, I'm sorry, song names. And I've seen these before. They're all great choices. Everything's spelled right. Excellent. These look really good. So great information here. Really nice. And I love how they're laid out. Very beautiful. Same with this. Really nice layout. Go ahead and left align these here on this side. There's no need to center align those paragraphs, okay? And be sure to, I think, include some punctuation at the end of each of those. Yeah, lovely layout. All right, so here's our mood board. And this is a really great start to a mood board. It is very sparse. Like, don't be afraid to have at least 20 images on your mood board, okay? I know that you're very focused, and I can see that here. The color palette is lovely. There are some colors that you could get rid of that are just too close together, you know. You could easily pare this down to a 6 color palette. Uh, and then really fun fonts there. So your imagery is of your band, which is great, but I need you to place in there actual 70s funk imagery. None of this is actually 70s funk imagery. So that's going to include any of your favorite album covers that sparked this project in the first place that just really caught your eye, any of those 70s posters or anything else that you found in your doing your research for your first presentation. Place those in here because it will only help when you if you hit a wall later on while you're creating any of your marketing material or your merchandise. Because right now, this is a fantastic solid start, but it's really not enough to keep you going. So, yeah, get some of that real 70s stuff in there so that it is, you're only pulling from the authentic stuff, okay? Great. And here's our final logo, and it turned out great. Very cute. I love the font that you chose. It's really nice. I also like how the S's change. That's lovely. Is this O supposed to be cropped like that? I'm wondering. I feel like it's not supposed to be cropped like that. I'm gonna have to keep going. The mouth is very cute. I think you should include a line here. Um, because when it's small, it reads as a mouth, but when it's large, it's a little bit more abstract. So I don't know if you want to put like a line to represent the tooth there, but keep it the same color, you know? I'm not sure if you played with that at all, and I'm not sure if everybody feels the same way that I do. All right. And then, yeah, that color palette is fantastic. Let me just zoom back in. Great. The color palette is fantastic. This is a fun pattern. I'm not sure what this texture is. I don't know why I'm not getting that. That's my fault. And then these are really good font options. Really nice. I think you can choose one or the other here between the avant-garde Gothic and the Franklin Gothic. I think I love avant-garde Gothic more because I really love the roundness of the G's. I think it's so cool. All right, beautiful color palette. See what I said? You can get it down to 6. All right, we're cool. And then here's the photos of the band, and they turned out awesome. You did a really great job on this photo shoot. Love it. So fun. Excellent. So really great. So I do understand how the funk genre can be so many different styles that it's hard to kind of figure out which direction to go. But I do see a lot of like Yellow Submarine influence in your work. And so, I mean, I think that that's a safe way to go there for sure because it's amazing and really unique and still considered psychedelic. And then from there, just like look at other things where you kind of like what they did with the type or with the hand-drawn lettering, or other little elements that you enjoy from it, like some sort of little illustration or pattern or texture. And then one more thing that I think could drive it to be more 70s would be overlaying some sort of a texture, a grain, photo grain, or uh, maybe even like a color grade wash of some sort that's kind of warm over your photos, but it's not by any means like necessary. 70s photos also, they did have like a warmer tone to them. So, for example, let's see, an actual 70s photo? All right, so I mean, this Farrah Fawcett one is actually 70s. It's notice how the background is very like warm, and the the type of film that it was, like this chroma color, it just had a whole different saturation amount, you know? And then this one right here, this one is looking a little more 60s, but maybe that's because the car that's in the photo. Um, See, this is the hard part. When you're looking for actually stuff from the era, you get too many things that were made now as a representation of the era. So this was taken back then, and um, this is James Brown. You can feel how this is kind of warm, um, the film itself. Outdoor images were sort of teal and colder. And a lot of these are not from the actual 70s. So, yeah. Okay, so, oh, here, this is what I was looking for, something like this. See how there is a yellow cast over a lot of these images? There we go. Now we're talking. So you could do something like that without making it too yellow where you know your characters look sick. We don't want that. But you could even just do it to the background if you wanted to. You know, you could play with some things like that. All right? Great. Thank you. Next up is Kieran. All right, so here is your brain dump. Really great start, very strong. I'd like to encourage you on future brain dumps. You won't have any more in this class, I don't think, but um, on other projects and stuff, since it is a powerful exercise, to challenge yourself to fill in all of the negative space on the whole page. So give yourself that extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes to just go nuts. Once you hit that wall of I can't think of anything else, just sit in it. Sit in that for a little bit, like for a couple minutes, and you will get past that wall and you will just create more neural pathways to unleash your creativity, okay? Excellent. And then cool mind map. I've never seen a mind map built like this. So that's the way to go. I think that's working out. You could, I'd like you on mind mapping exercises to challenge yourself to branch at least 4 levels out for every single thing. I think that's a really good goal to have when mind mapping, and it's not mandatory, but it will really help you dig deep. All right, so here's our final list. These are great names. Be sure to not capitalize the on here, and then please capitalize you for, well, I don't know if you capitalize for, but be sure to capitalize me. Google if you capitalize for. I'm not sure. Great. Good job. And then here are our personas. These are great. Excellent. Excellent. Nice layout. Really good. Perfect. Really good information on here. Great. Another one. Really good layout and really good info. Great job there. All right. So here's our mood board. Loving it. All right. So I want to make sure that, oh, there's some really good stuff in here. I love seeing these album covers here. I love seeing Bootsy. Um, but there are a few things that are not from the actual 70s. I don't even think the Stevie Wonder poster is from there. So I'd like you to go back. This definitely is not from the 70s. And she's not, I don't think. This is not either. While they are all incredible. Maybe it's that you just love these illustration styles. I get that. This is not from the 70s. If it's that, if you'd like to, you know, emulate these illustration styles, that's cool. Just make them smaller images, but I'd like you to bring in more actual 70s stuff, okay? So that you are more inundated with the authentic 70s looks, and whether it is the look of the designs, the costuming, the color casting, the typography, all those things. Um, I really want those to be your main influences, okay? Awesome color palette. Really cool font here. I like this. Oh, sorry, I'm getting crazy with my cursor. All right, so here's our band logo. Okay, I was wondering how you were going to tackle the chrysalis, so let me just keep going and I'll come back to this, okay? So this is a wonderful color palette. The texture's looking a little gritty, which I know is part of the point, but I think instead of this grittiness, maybe it's a more of a grain, like a film grain, and not like a vignette grain. I think all these fonts are good choices, so that's nice. Really cool. All right, and then let me see your photos. Awesome. So good. Really good. Okay. Okay, so just to address some of the stuff that you in your reflections here, I am so happy to hear that you created this whole backstory that's like going to keep you really inspired and keep your motivation going, you know. I think it's really fun and it makes everything um, more like personal, you know, which I think is just going to be fantastic part of your process. So that makes me really happy. Um, we are not building a contemporary, a band with contemporary style. So there, you are supposed to have constraints of making this look historically accurate. So I know that that might kind of stink because it sounds like you didn't like that part, but it when we have graphic design clients, we don't get to make all of these decisions. They already come with us with a group of parameters, like a set of parameters, I mean. So maybe we get to design their branding from scratch and their logo and everything like that. But a lot of times we don't. A lot of times they come to us with all that stuff already established. And they're like, hey, can you just do this one project for me or these two things that I need done um, using these parameters that exist? And so it's just like we don't, I mean, the reality of it is that we don't get to have complete artistic freedom. We do get to, you know, use our creativity and be turn it into something that has us in it, but it's just not really like how it actually is in the real design world, unfortunately. However, it's still super fun. It's still super creative. And the reason why we do this project so that you can replicate things authentically is so that you can learn how to do that in the software, number one. Number two, it makes you really analyze details and compare like how why does my work not look like this other work? And then once you start figuring out those little differences and being able to replicate them, it just makes you a stronger designer altogether. So you can fit in seamlessly into something that's already been established. Okay. All right. So let's go back to your logo real fast. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. So this is a really cool start. I love these gradients here. I think it's really giving it some perspective. And the color palette is just really lovely. I love it very much. What it's starting to do by the way that you distorted the text is it's starting to give us dimension, but then it's immediately flattened into 2D because there's nothing coming off of these letters to continue that dimension. The only dimension we get is right here where there is the illusion of a corner. So what I'd like you to look at is logos like the Commodore logo, where they are expanding the shapes beyond, you know, behind it. So while this logo is going the opposite direction as yours, right? It's facing up and pulling down. Yours is facing down and pulling backwards and up. You can still achieve that same illusion. I think it's just important to turn your logo, turn the letters into three dimensions, first of all. The other thing that would help is actually giving the chrysalis another dimension too. So once you do that to your letters, it's going to be very easy for you to do that to the shape behind it. Another example would be the Gap Band's logo. See how they just created these extra dimension. That's going to totally change your logo from being 2D to 3D. It's going to go from a shape to a form, and it's going to really bring it into the funk genre really nicely. And your color palette is already lending to that because you have colors that will work nicely as like a shadow, in the background. So what you may need, first of all, you don't have this yellow in your palette at all. And I'm not crazy about this yellow. I like the buttery yellow a little bit more. Um, I'm looking at this orange and I'm wondering if that's now that I'm looking at the chrysalis, if it's the way to go. Never mind. I think you're going for like a monarch theme, so that does make sense. Um, so yeah, maybe just go with the orange color for the text, and then you do absolutely not need to stroke this text in purple. So just play with that, play with some tutorials that allow you to pull your text back like that to create that illusion. And then, play with your color palette, see what looks right there. Okay. And if you can't do this in Illustrator, then you can do it in Photoshop. So you can choose either one. Just when you make it in Photoshop, make it very, very large so that when you bring it over onto your album covers and stuff, it won't be pixelated at all. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Next up is Christian. All right, so we've got your brain dump. Fantastic work. Really good. I like to see those long lists. Excellent. Thank you. Good looking. Mind map really went for it. Yes, way to go. And here is our track list. Really good. Right, everything's spelled correctly, and you have some awesome names there. Great job. Excellent. Band persona, or sorry, persona mind map. This one's really good too. Really good. So I like to see every mind map have at least 4 levels. I don't quite see that here. So just challenge yourself. Like you're really great at mind mapping already. I recommend trying to challenge yourself to go at least 4 levels deep on almost every single branch. Okay, great. The more insight you have into your uh, end user, the better you'll be at designing for them. All right. Okay, great. So here's our persona document. Really nice, really good information, and I appreciate how you broke everything up here. This is an opportunity on these personas to show out some of your layout chops, because this will eventually be on your website and your portfolio. So I just go ahead and look at some of the other ways that some of the ways that some of your peers laid things out with like using different colored boxes and stuff to separate the info, or almost laying it out like a resume in a way with the columns and dividing lines, things like that. So to have some fun with it, now that you have your branding established, you could apply that to it if you'd like, instead of making it look like a very formal Word doc. Same with this one. Here's our fan persona. So whichever way you lay out that musician persona, you can apply that same style to this. Really good information in here. Thank you. All right, and so here's our mood board. All right, so we're going for 80s new wave, but I am not seeing any actual 80s imagery in here. I'm seeing a lot of things that are representative of that or influenced by it, but your mood board has to have real 80s imagery in it, okay? The color palette is gorgeous. You can absolutely bring in things that influence you, like these textures. There's fun stuff here for sure, but I want you to go back and pull your favorite album covers that you found, any like magazine covers or posters that you found that you just were bonkers over. Um, any video games that were actually from the 80s, like the picture was taken in, of it being 80s, that is going to be more helpful. So you can just, shrink some of the stuff down, but get rid of pictures that are not from the 80s. And I would like to see, I think it's important to have at least like 20 images on your mood board. And we're shooting for authentic 80s. We're not shooting for a current ode to the 80s, okay? So your font choices are really good. I don't think the Puffin Arcade one is a great way to go, but I think all the other ones are okay. All right, let's keep going. Yay, it turned out great. That texture is really cool. I love the tittle on the eye. It looks really great, and how the A is like, phew, like shooting for it. Really cool. I love the motion in here. Awesome. It's really good. It's really cool. Yay, easy, done. All right, and then here is our uh, standard sheet. Really good color palette. I'm not sure about this rusty color. I'm not sure about either of these two colors or even this mustard. You know, when I see this teal up here, let me go back to your color palette. And like these purples, it's like a more kind of indigo purple than this. Well, I see the smoky color, smoky. It's like a dusty purple. So I mean, I see that there, but I love a punchy magenta, so why not a punchy cyan? You know, because I'm seeing lots of real royal blue and some cyan and stuff in here, and I think that's working better than these earthy tones. However, I'm interested to see how you put them together. If there's already something you have in mind, then, go for it. Why not? Okay. And oh, let me go back to your fonts. Yeah, yeah. We can definitely uh, cut out a couple of these. Yeah, there's just a lot there. You don't need all that. I think you should get rid of Futura. It's my favorite font. That's why it's hard for me to say that. But Poppins is a very good replacement of Futura. And here is our photos. Great. I love them. Yes, I think they will work really, really well. Really great. Nice finds. Really good. So when you hear me kind of gushing about your work and I don't give you a lot of things to work on, sometimes students find that frustrating. And I just want you to know that that's not how every critique goes. So when you get these kind of critiques, I want you to take the win here and just be stoked that you don't have to go back and tweak a lot of things. It's really like the highest compliment. And so I want you to like enjoy the moment and not be frustrated with my lack of feedback, because it's like praise, it's all praise. And so it's not a lack of feedback, it's a lack of a list of changes that you need to make, which is a very good thing. Less work means you can go get more clients and make more money, right? All right, so let me just check out these reflections. Excellent. So I'm so happy to hear, first of all, that you guys got on a call together. That's so great. That is really nice. And then that you uh, enjoyed, like, you already enjoy the 80s music, which is really going to help. I mean, it already comes through in the work that you're doing. So, like, that nostalgia can be so motivating. So, I love that. Um, I understand how it can be hard to find images, like enough images to use of real people, but you did an awesome job. Like the time you took searching them out, you had a really great result there. As well as I know that 40 thumbnails are a lot. Um, Most graphic design businesses for a long time required at least 60, so it's not at all abnormal. I know that there are designers out there who challenge themselves to make at least 100. There's designers out there who make 100 thumbnails a day in their journal. So this is one time for the semester that you had to make 40. You don't have to keep making more throughout the class. So it's just a really good exercise. It's very good for you. And every single instructor should be requiring that. Um, and you can tell them I said that. Just kidding. Then on top of that, there is, I think that um, the thumbnails that you made were fantastic. Like you really branched out and you experimented a lot. And that's all it takes. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's all about, is experimentation constantly and just really letting those creative neural pathways form in your brain so that it just gets easier and easier every single time. And it just becomes like no big deal, second nature, to just bust this stuff out, you know? And then I think that I'm happy that you went with the arcade aesthetic. I think it's really fun. And I think that that will be motivating too, because it's just a blast and like another nostalgia thing, you know. I can see kind of the Street Fighter influence on that on the logo that you came up with, and I absolutely love that you did a hand drawn font because you couldn't, you know, make something fit in this idea that you had. It turned out so perfect, and I love the texture. I love the motion in it. It's a very exciting logo. It turned out so good. So congratulations on all of it. And thank you very much. Thank you all so much. I'm so happy with your work.